Welcome to the Charleston Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the Charleston AMA and broadcasting from our friends at Charleston Media Solutions Studios. Thanks to our awesome sponsors at CMS, we get to chat with the cool folks making waves in Charleston. From business and art to hospitality and tech, these movers and shakers choose to call the Lowcountry home. They live here, work here, and make a difference here. So what's their story? Let's find out together.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Charleston American Marketing Association podcast. My name is Tom Kepler, Obsidian Comms Content Coaching, chooseobsidian.com. I'm joined here today by Rachel. Rachel, how you doing?
Good.
I am so thrilled to co-host with you today.
I'm excited to co-host with you.
Yeah.
You're like a pro.
Why don't you tell people about yourself a little bit?
So, I am from from New Jersey. I'm living in Charleston right now. I have a big focus on marketing, as well as like strategy when it comes to ads.
Yeah.
So right now I'm kind of freelancing it right now, but I'm also on the board of CAMA, so I'm doing a lot of stuff for marketing and communications there.
And you've been a guest on the podcast and a co-host. How many times is this now?
This is now my third time being a co-host.
Awesome. You're an old sod. That's great. And we've got Christian Morant joining us today. Christian, say hello.
Hello.
I'd love to introduce you. Christian, you were born and raised in South Carolina. You're a professional spoken word artist known for your evocative poetry, your songwriting, your advocacy for mental health, and we thank you for that. You're also an established musician. You're author of the book Growth, illustrator of the children's adventure I Belong, and the award-winning Best Actor in Jackson Bale's short film Wormhole. You took the TEDx stage here in Charleston.
Yes.
Charleston Music Hall. What a venue.
Yes.
You've been in the New York Poets Cafe, Philly's Voices and Power, So Far Sounds, Free Verse Festival, Creative Mornings, Poetry Me Please. You've performed on a myriad of stages around the world. We are thrilled to have you. What an honor.
Thank you.
You bet.
Overwhelmed with hearing it back to me. So thank you.
You're like, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, that's a mouthful. We should have condensed it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. From a marketing perspective, this is where I'd like to start off.
Yeah.
You've gone viral. You've got a new album.
Yep.
And it's called I Am Not a Rapper.
Yep.
And you've got a song on there called Snappin.
That's actually follows the album.
Oh,
actually,
it follows.
It's separate from I Am Not a
Okay.
Rapper. Yep.
Oh, terrific. My misunderstanding.
It's all good.
Tell me about Snappin and tell us about the Open Verse Challenge and how that sort of went from concept to reality.
Yeah. So I'm Not a Rapper was the album that I released, and it's this pull of not really identifying as a rapper because I'm more of a poet. That's where I really find my voice in spoken word. But music is also part of my family's legacy and stuff, and so I always don't want to lose that. So I created that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I'm going to push myself a little bit and actually step into that rap.
Maybe I
persona
may be a bit of a rapper.
Yeah, a little bit, right? A little bit. But the song itself is still pays homage to the root of the music is in the poetry itself, not just the rap technique. And then, so I had this idea, created the video, created the song. And then once I had the time of my life doing that, I was like, well, why not open this up and see how it resonates with the poets and the rappers and stuff? And it's actually my first challenge that I've done.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So on top of the response, I'm like, wow, this is the first one I've put out there and encouraged people to do, and it has this kind of response.
Yeah.
Makes you want to do more, right?
Yeah. It's what is it? Not daunting, but when you put something up so high, like you're like,
it sets a high bar.
Yes,
absolutely.
It sets that bar, right?
Yeah.
So for the uninitiated, what is an open verse challenge?
Yes. So an open verse, for those who don't know, pretty much someone takes their song and they either have a chorus or a verse, and they wrote, and they remove their verse and they allow other people to write on top of that portion of the song.
Yeah. So it becomes a collab.
Yep.
And it's become many collabs. 25,000 views on TikTok alone.
That was a nice birthday gift that I figured out. So combined views of everybody just participating in this thing, and I'm like, wow, this is really, it was a challenge to see who I might want to do on a remix of the song.
Sure.
So I'm still trying to navigate that idea.
That might wind up being a long remix.
Well, yeah,
you
we're
had
not
some
gonna-
really good features on there. Yeah,
We're not going to do everybody,
Yeah.
but it's just a big basis of what I do is community, and that at the core of it or any of my projects, that is like what it's showcasing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, where did the title "I'm Not a Rapper" come from?
The concept of not feeling like a rapper,
Yeah.
the identity, and then just the play on it, right? The intriguing nature of like, why would somebody, as a writer or
Yeah.
creative, you're like, how do I communicate this in a way that might be like intriguing, so
Yeah.
to say, like, oh, why would you name it that? So just kind of, I guess, from y'all's standpoint, the marketing standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
fair.
Right.
Exactly.
It's
It
catchy.
yeah.
Yeah.
It made us ask questions about it, right?
Yeah,
So-
right. Exactly. That's what you want to do is
And
spark
also
conversation.
also the crutch of like, if you listen to the album, if I'm not rapping to your perspective, then I took some onus off of me too.
I'm not to blame. I'm not a rapper anyway. Right.
Exactly.
So for the album, you did 12 live music videos. That had to be intense. Tell us about that process.
Intense, I think, is an understatement. At first, it started off, I just, shout out to my buddy Jackson Bales, huge, amazing cinematographer. He does work a lot here now with a real estate agent, and he's amazing in film. He's amazing in what I do with music. I've got big love for Jackson Bales. But anyway, we were talking about filming things and creating projects. And I was like, well, I have this one song and this other song, and then we just started doing them. I said, well, why not maybe turn this into an album while we're doing it? And I was like, well, most people just record their music and then do the video. I said,
Yeah.
I wanted this to be all inclusive. So it was a lot to manage, but back to the communal aspect, I wanted to display that this thing is more than me. It takes all of these elements to make happen. Him filming, the studios recording, the other musicians singing or playing their instruments, and I wanted to be a visual experience too. So
Yeah.
what you
Wonderful.
hear is on the album is what you see on the videos, and vice versa.
That's terrific. Yeah.
When you were working with any of those artists, was there someone that like really made you think outside the box, that pushed you? You're like, well, I didn't even think about that, and maybe let's add that to the album or the song.
I think a little bit of everybody.
Yeah.
Like Stacia, Stay La Vie, she plays djembe, and that really, there's a lot of acoustic nature to the album because I wanted to keep it kind of raw. But some of them have piano, and djembe. So Stay La Vie, she's amazing. But I think the earlier ones was Emily Curtis.
Yeah.
Are y'all familiar with Emily
Yeah.
Curtis? Yeah,
Sure.
she's a hometown staple. I'm really grateful I got to, the fact that she wanted to be part of this was,
Yeah.
I was floored. I was like, wow, I admired you, like in watching you in the scene and how we're doing stuff. But anyway, Mermaid Green was like the highlight song of the album, and it was one of the first ones she did. And she suggested in between, I think the middle chorus and a verse, she's like, why don't we add a little space here and add some maybe like Michael beatboxing or something. So in the middle, and that we did that on the fly.
That's amazing.
We did that on the fly, and I respect her creativity and her artistry, and I was like, yeah, let's go with it. I wasn't originally in there at all.
Yeah.
I didn't have that, and she's like, and she does amazing songwriting, and she's amazing. So I was like, yep, let's keep it.
Wow, I like that. So shout out to Emily Curtis.
Yes,
Yeah,
shout out
absolutely.
Emily Curtis. Yep.
Yeah.
There's so many shouts I could do. But
Okay,
like,
yeah.
There's,
We'll go through the list later.
yeah, we'll go through that.
Yeah. Christian, a lot of people, when they think of Charleston, they think of food and bev, they think of tourism, but there is what seems to me as a relative newcomer, a cultural epicenter to Charleston as well.
Yeah.
How do people sort of tap into that? Where are the places to go and see spoken word and see good
Yeah.
music and poetry and what have you?
Yeah, great question, because that's actually something I struggled with being born here. Kind of
Sure.
like you take for granted what you kind of grow up with, right? And used to the beverage scene and the food and stuff, which is amazing, by the way. So
Sure.
no fret on that, by the way. It is known for a reason. But there's like places like Charleston Poorhouse,
Sure.
and
I
all
love
that.
The Poorhouse.
Yes,
Yeah,
Poorhouse is
love
great.
the Poorhouse.
They are amazing.
Wednesdays on the deck are the best.
Yep. Wednesdays on the deck. Where else?
Sunday yoga on the deck too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
And then
didn't know
the sort of makers market, farmers
Oh, I
market
love
right
that.
Yes.
afterwards.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
My
Great
buddy
way to spend a
Michael
Sunday.
Duff actually plays out there. I don't know how often, but he's on the album. He's throughout the album.
Awesome.
There's also Free Verse Festival that's run by Marcus Amaker.
Mhm.
He was Charleston's first poet laureate. And I mean, there's all kinds of places. They're kind of missing my head right now, but I mean, Music Farm, that's a staple. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh sure.
Absolutely.
That's for like the music side. The poetry scene, that one, you got to kind of find it a little bit
Yeah.
here and there.
Yeah. Look under some rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's there.
Good.
Is there like open mics that you were attending at first, like where you do like slam poetry? Is that
Yeah,
if I'm calling it the right
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, no. A lot of people versus so slam is more of a competitive thing.
Okay, okay.
And people kind of it's random judges in the audience who judge
Gotcha.
it, and that's not my per se.
Yeah.
There are amazing slam
Yeah,
poets.
I'm sure.
I just do it for the sharing of the
Yeah.
craft. And I just don't like the competition
Yeah.
aspect of it. But
Yeah.
there are amazing slam poets. But I shout out Free Verse again because I think that's the staple of Charleston. That's where I started. There used to be Monday night poetry mic. It was led by Lynn. I do not remember his name. But anyway, that's kind of those realms where I started. And I would stammer. I would stammer reading my poem. I would stammer doing. You're starting.
Yeah.
Um.
And you're speaking in front of people, which is always
Yep.
put you in a vulnerable spot.
Yep. But people who want to do the thing, they'll do it. They'll practice, and
Mhm.
that's where I started. So, and then start venturing out, and hopefully you want to travel and do things.
Yeah.
So-
So mental health is a big topic for
Mhm.
you, and we celebrate that. You mentioned at TEDx that you and so many other artists treat it as a form of therapy. Why? How do you sort of weave that into your work, and why is that so meaningful to you?
That is always a good question. It just feels needed. It's an outlet. And I think, Rachel, you briefly mentioned this earlier. Like, you may not perform it or something like that. Whatever it is, but it's a therapy. Writing,
Yeah.
an outlet that in day-to-day work, you need something to express yourself where you feel misunderstood. You feel depressed. All those things where you just feel alone. And that's what I found. And then in my personal journey is from a family of musicians, I didn't know quite where I fit. I worked in the tech world and all this other stuff, but I really wanted to live up to that.
Yeah.
And then I fortunately found words and found a way to form them, and started doing it for myself as a catharsis. And then realizing when you can, just like music itself or dance or anything, when you realize that thing actually touches somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it helps them, but it also reminds you that you're not alone.
Yeah.
Oh, that resonates
Like-
so deeply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I actually do actual psychological therapy. I go to therapy every
Yeah.
week too.
As we all should. We all should.
Don't dismiss it for actual therapy
Yeah.
Yeah,
either,
right.
but it is also a form of therapy. So.
What's the hardest emotion to express in your work?
Took my question.
Oh, I love it.
Ask me again.
Nice job teeing that up, Rachel.
Yeah, what would be the hardest emotion? I'm sure there's so many, but
Yeah, there's a lot. I'd say maybe I start with the opposite and kind of maybe the easiest
yeah.
is like anger and frustration,
Yeah.
Mm.
because it's just like that thing that you need to get out.
It
It's like
needs to be
fire
expressed.
in your
yeah.
belly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I don't like this, especially like depression. I don't like this thing. I don't want to take it out on you as a
Yeah.
person. But it's got to go somewhere. Punch a wall, write it down. I don't know. But easiest one. Hardest one. I used to kind of think maybe love and joy. But then I think it was also the narrative I was telling, right? I think there's a lot of music that sometimes like, why it's so easy to write it. There's that dichotomy of an artist, right? Of why are so many artists in pain and shame and all that?
Yeah.
Kind of what I just said, right? You can kind of release it, but there's also narratives you can tell yourself, and you can write about love
Yeah.
and those things. And actually, the first piece And one of my proudest ones is called What Have I Learned About Love? And I wrote that during one of my darkest times.
Really?
And so it reminded me, like, I was down in the dumps, but it reminded me that there's a light that you can choose to grab onto if you want to.
That's
Like,
beautiful.
awesome. Yeah,
That's
awesome.
beautiful.
So,
It's poetry
I got a
right
poet.
there.
Yeah. sometimes you got a poet. So I hope that, I don't know, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
It's kind of a hard thing.
In a very deep way.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's kind of a hard thing. We're complex beings, man. Emotions are weird and fun and all those things. So, yeah.
Kind of jumping back to mental health, like, do you think that, not there's like a myth, but do you think that there's something that's not understood by the public that artists and musicians are going through when it comes to mental health, that they're not, portraying in the right way, or that the audience is not seeing?
That is a great question. I'm not even sure if I'm qualified to answer that. I think just like anything, that it's just there, and that it deserves respect, and that it's okay to slow down. It's okay to take time to yourself, and that's just there, just like anything else. Like, one of my weaknesses is like balance, right? I like to go all in on stuff, and I'm just like, I can't do this. But one of my words this year that I have embraced has been like grace. So, like,
I love that.
yeah, giving yourself grace, giving other people's grace. We're not perfect. I mean, it's not a narrative. It's nothing new, but just to remind people, we're not perfect. We can have faults. I could have been late today. I'm glad I was early.
Yeah. We're grateful, but we would have accommodated it either way. We were excited to see you.
So just little things like that, right? And acknowledging, back to a little bit what we were saying, acknowledging those emotions, right? Like, that anger is real, that happiness is real, that sadness is real. Those things that we don't have to be perfect, which is that's the cliche. That's not even a real, perfection's not a real thing, but we do also do best to present ourselves in good ways.
Right.
I could go on about that answer, like that. There's such a duality to that answer.
Yeah,
for sure.
The reason why I asked is because I feel like sometimes when we're looking from social media, it's so easy to mask things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to look at someone like Taylor Swift or, Lizzo, right? Like, be like, wow, they really know how to deal with depression or anxiety, like, in the most perfect way.
Yeah.
And so sometimes as an outsider, it's nice to see that, like, you guys are good at expressing how you feel, but just because you can't express how you feel doesn't mean that they're not still going through it, right?
Amen. Yeah, exactly. And there's other ways, like, some people do the gym.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or something like that. And also they've made I'm glad you mentioned them, because those are big artists. Those are names we can drop, right?
Yeah.
But they're no different than you or I or your neighbor or something like that.
They're still human.
Yeah, exactly. They're just what we are grabbing onto.
Yeah.
But, like, you could ask your neighbor, how are you doing today?
Yeah.
Are you feeling like Taylor Swift?
I'm in Opalite era, yeah.
Exactly. So, like, it's just a reminder, and a power to those people that they found a way to be successful at expressing their hearts, and that's really good. And that's, I think, as artists and as humans, we all aspire to do. So
Yeah.
So many of our listeners, being the American Marketing Association, are creatives, right? And I find it always interesting to tap into that creative process and wonder what that process looks like for someone like you. Is it chaotic? Is it structured? Do you wake up at the same time every day and spend the first 2 hours of the day writing? What does that look like for you?
It's for me, it's chaotic. I know that answer. I wish there was some more structure, but no, it's thoughts out of thin air, and I need to write that down, and then I leave it and then return to it. Like, for instance, I think we might talk about this later, but stage presence, I wrote, that was all in a 2-night session. That came upon me till 5 a.m. I was like, I got to write this down for 2 nights straight. I didn't sleep. I just did this. There's another project that I'll just kind of
Give us a little
allude to
Yeah,
that
give us a
I've been
preview.
writing over like 8 years.
Wow.
So yeah, and that's a construct of a billion different thoughts and views and stuff like that. So it's very chaotic.
Awesome.
So would you say you're someone who it's harder to finish a project or start the project?
You've had a big year of finishing projects.
Yeah. I do not know how to answer that question.
All right, I'm gonna be done with my deep questions over here.
I don't know how to answer that question. I definitely can finish maybe it's both. I don't know. Like you said, I've had a deep year of finishing them, but they come at different waves, right? Like even the album, there were certain songs that were written years ago, and then so you gotta, again, back to what I said earlier with Grace, like you gotta like maybe let some time go, because there was a point where I was part of another band called Noisy Boys, and I wanted to make it. I wanted people to understand the art and understand me, and I was like trying to force the art. Right. And not letting, as cliche as it sounds, not letting the process happen, right? If you're not feeling it, or if it's not resonating, or not taking time to pull in the videographer and the right musicians, it's not going to land. Like you can't just build a building without like the structure underneath it and stuff like that. Like but you don't realize that until the universe kind of slaps you in the face. Yeah. So, but once I do have a vision, I will say I go pretty intense. I'm like, I can do this. Yeah. Like, how do I'm going to find a way to make this happen. And it took me a while to like finally get the pride in that. Which is also why I love pivoting between like 49% being in front of the camera and 51% being a director, because when I did stage presence again, I felt like I locked in that day when everybody showed up, and I was just like, do this, do that. And they listened, they trusted.
Let's pull that thread. Let's back up just a half a step. What is stage presence? Tell us about it. 20 artists featured, sort of your concept, but tell us about it.
Yeah. So that is probably probably will be my most cherished project, even though I will continue to create and push boundaries and stuff like that. But back to a theme I've said throughout this conversation is the communal aspect. So stage presence, it is essentially it was a poem. It was my first 5-minute poem. So back to the realm of actual what poetry is and how hard it is maybe to gain our attentions, right? If you've ever seen poetry, it is a lot of words and emotions, but to grasp our attention for more than maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes or a song or something like that can be difficult if it's not gravitating. So most of my pieces are anywhere from a minute to 3 minutes or something, and this was my first 5-minute piece. And you're like, well, what do you have to say? So anyway, so this piece, I was feeling very out of place during my travels and going from here to New York and back and forth, and seeing other poets really finding their footing and feeling out of place. And I was like, I don't know where I belong anymore, even though I felt like this was the community I was part of. And so all of this poured out of me those 2 nights I mentioned, and I was like, oh, what do I do with this? And I didn't want to perform it yet. And so the idea, and I love film and I love all like the video aspect, hence it's another avenue of how I weave my art together. I started all my peers. I was like, hey, what do you think about this idea? And I want to give you all kind of a piece of it, and I really want you to showcase, because it's more than me. It's us. And all of them have said that's how I felt too. So it felt really good to be like, oh, this can represent more than me. And the non-artists too have resonated with it too, and it's been that was really incredible. So the intense part was pulling everybody together. But back where I was saying earlier is I got locked in. I casted like each line to the poets who I wanted, and I was like, you might sound good on this and that, and do it kind of like this. And I did a fun test of myself doing it, and then they came together on that day. It took me, I think, 5 or 6 hours under immense pressure. But and they were like, what do you want from me? And I said, do this. And I felt good. I felt 1,000%. I was like, this feels like in alignment. And then the vision came together.
Congratulations to you. Nicely done.
Snaps.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
What was the moment that you realized being an artist wasn't just an expression for you. It was a calling. This is a vocation. This is how you're going to make a living.
That is a great question. It's been a difficult one to nail down. I used to think when I was younger, I used to draw a lot, sketching like Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, and I love that. I used to think I'd be strictly a visual artist.
Yeah.
And then you're growing up, you want to make friends, you gotta go your path. And then I went into the tech world, which is really grateful. I learned a lot through that. And I didn't know I was actually gonna do it. I really didn't. And then my life around 2016 kind of turned over in 1,000 different directions. And it was my only thing I had, and the universe kind of just forced me to do it. It's been in my heart, and luckily I've also been surrounded by artists in my family. And so I'd say it became more apparent within the past decade, 2016 to 2018. It's like a visceral need.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who I'd be without it. Like, it's
an identity.
It is. Also, I'm glad you said that. I've also struggled with that too. I actually did let that consume me so much of like, I'm just an artist and I can't show up as a brother, or I can't show up as a friend anymore. And that was a very tumultuous time of like, so yeah, no.
The artist formerly known as Christian.
That. And I've had to like dig myself out of that and realize, oh, you know, balance, like I said earlier.
Yeah, we play roles.
Yeah. And I was like, oh no, I can show up and do this. I just have to commit, and I have to own that. So that part of the whole I've been digging out for the past couple of years of like, oh, I can be all these other things. But the artist thing is definitely just, it's innate. It is in here. Is to express it. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in your family? I guess everyone is an artist, right? Is there anyone who has gone their own route and is not an artist? Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be me, honestly.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be. I was like, it's not gonna be me. Like at one point when I was in the tech world. I don't actually think so. It's funny you asked that, because I kind of been in the back of my head the past like year or two, and I realized everybody's kind of did art. Like I have an aunt did ballet. Wow. Several of my uncles and my dad like play drums and do music, and my granddad Joey Morant, he's he passed a couple years ago, and my grandma, but they all did music. He was a jazz musician. We've all done art in some way, express ourselves in some way.
So beautiful.
Yeah, good question though.
No, it's inspiring, because honestly, someone who comes from a family who not so artistic, I have always wanted to find my own type of art. So actually, that's a good question. So if someone who maybe isn't a good singer, maybe isn't a good musician, or painter, what would you say to someone? What's another way to express yourself through so-called art without being able to sing, dance, or paint?
Yeah. I always say you can do it. Yeah. Whatever it is, man. Like, you can teach. I can't sing. I will say that. Like, I'm sure I could find maybe a way to learn really, really hard. Yeah. But if you're really reluctant to like try to do an art like painting or something, if you're just punch a pillow, go boxing, anything, like the release, like be open to the release idea, right? Yeah. That's the first thing. And then try to let go of the failure or the perfection thing, right? So like if you want to lean a little more into the painting, but you don't think you're an artist, you're not no Picasso, just throw some paint on the wall. Yeah. I don't know, man, just have fun with it, right? Yeah. Stuff like that. Because I think it's the idea that you want to, like, you could be an artist. You're a marketer, but you could just do a painting.
Yeah,
Whether
right.
It's a stick figure. I think it's the shift in perspective.
Okay.
That's it. Now, then there's the idea of lucrative and making a living. That's a separate. I think that's a separate like idea to it, right?
Absolutely. Than
just doing the thing, writing the song, whether it's a lullaby or an ode to your wife or husband or whatever. There's separate avenues. Yeah. But the first thing is, I think, believing in yourself, man. Which I haven't always done either, but
Yeah.
I hope that does that. Help,
yeah, that
kinda
really
answers
does
that?
help.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home and start splattering some paint on my wall. My fiance's gonna love it.
Well, I'm sure. Exactly.
So you mentioned sort of making a living out of art. Two-part question here. One, does that suck the fun out of it?
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I had to fight that too. I had to kind of a little bit to what we were just saying. You have to do the art for itself. You know, and I've seen a bunch of podcasts and videos saying the same thing I'm saying right now, but you don't realize it until you need to. Like, you have to do it for yourself. But there was a point when, and I mentioned this band Noisy Boys, it was more party music and kind of fun stuff like that. But I was so heavily like on the marketing and having shirts, and I was like, I gotta make this happen. I gotta make it. Doing that typical kind of lose your sight of the of things. And we were making a buzz, and selling shirts and stickers and all that stuff.
You were Noisy Boys indeed.
Yeah, we were making some noise. But it was sucking. It was definitely sucking the fun.
Yeah.
And how treating my relationships, people who were helping me, like my buddy Josh, I love him to death, and he was looking out for me, but it wasn't things that were like clashing.
Yeah.
And so I had to really like sit down and be like, I got to just do this for the art's sake. And then back to balance. You kind of maybe compartmentalize, and you can find a way to make the lucrative side, but you got to try to find the way to separate them as much as you can. Like, do the art for itself, and then find the business side of it. And I'm still figuring that out, like, to this day.
And so that's the other part of the question is, what do you wish more people understood about the economics of being a multidisciplinary artist?
Oh man. Oh yeah. That's a big one. First of all, I'm frugal. I don't expect this to, I desire that I will live comfortably throughout my life, but I'm frugal. Like, don't spend much money now on, unless it's food, survival, going somewhere to put the stuff back into itself. And being open with the different stuff, being open to free gigs, being open to minimal lucrative stuff, being open to the bigger lucrative stuff. Yeah, it can be difficult.
Yeah,
for sure. But it's mindset too. It really is mindset. I hope that kind of answers that question.
Of course it does.
Yeah. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say to that, but it is losing me.
It sort of seems like the advice is make art for art's sake.
Yeah.
And don't forget the hustle afterwards. Right.
Yeah.
Sort of keep it as a two-part process.
Yeah.
Make the art for yourself, and then figure out how to merchandise and commercialize it.
Yes.
Like, wear your business hat and your artist hat separately.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. Oh, and you mentioned multi-disciplined. That's also hard, right? Like, because I came out of the gate after my tech side, I was like, I'm gonna have a production company, and I'm just gonna be a filmmaker and a director and edit stuff. And then I was like, well, I'm also gonna draw, and I'm also gonna write and be a poet and a performer. So you really got to also start honing in on like your craft, right? I think that's also a struggle. Back to balance. I'm glad I gotta get to wear these hats now, and I'm really thankful for recognizing those as well. But that all came in time, like that all different levels. I could do the video at this point, and then I think for several years I focused on the performing aspect, right? Like the writing aspect came over my teenage years mostly, and things like that, and then the performing aspect. And so I think it's really just the natural law of like life happening, where all of these elements kind of came together, and how do you utilize them? Yeah. So, that was a long-winded answer to that. But
we like thoughtful answers.
Yeah.
We just call them thoughtful.
Cool. Good.
Is there anything in this book right here that you have, let's say, because you said that you started when you were, younger. So is there anything that you used in your book that maybe you've edited or changed, and now it's something different?
This has been building since I think probably middle school or so. I never
Wow.
I never thought it would turn into a book, and then I realized I had all these like journal entries.
And that's the book Growth.
Growth.
You've
Yes.
got in
Yeah,
front
sorry,
of you.
yes.
Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
This
Yes.
is Growth. This is his book. You guys should all check it out.
Yes, absolutely.
Please.
Yes. Thank you.
Available wherever fine books are sold.
Yes. Thank you. I actually released it the day I did TEDx. Yeah.
Really?
Did you
And
really?
that was
You
crazy.
really cluster projects together.
Yeah, I
You
know.
have
Well,
big moments.
That's a
where
marketing, though, right?
That
Yeah.
is the thing I
There's
started.
promotion.
So that's why I was really happy to talk to you guys today, because I've started leaning a little more into like kind of accepting this. I don't want to be put in the bucket, but I've kind of embraced this like marketing hat that I kind of wear.
Yeah.
That like I've started like, okay, I guess I do have a little nudge there. But back to your question, something that I've changed. Well, one, I edited this whole thing myself.
Yeah. Wow.
And I can't think. There's a few that I changed around here, but most of it all like is real and has resonated throughout my life.
That's
And
amazing. So at 13 years old, you're like able to publish something. Like think of your 13-year-old self. Would they have ever imagined that?
no, not at all. No,
It's amazing. A full circle moment.
yeah, I was pretty blown away that I was like, oh, this is actually happening. And then getting off the TEDx stage and we went, there's like a little after party at the museum, and like I had to go have my friend to the car get the remaining boxes because everybody wanted.
You got to set up the merch
Yeah.
table.
I
I was like, this is wild. Yeah. And I
That's
had
great.
one cool instance about that. I wanted to say that experience. I was signing a book, and then some guy came up to me, like tapped me on my left shoulder and said, "Oh my God, such an amazing performance." And he gave me a caricature of me. And I said, "Thank you." I turned back to give my book away, and I turned back to him. He was gone. It was like
Vanished.
he just vanished. And
He
I
was
just
actually
like,
a ghost.
yeah. And I was just like, well, that's cool. And it's a really cool character drawing. And I was like, what is happening right now? So anyway, yeah, the book Growth, that was the first. So for those listening, it's the first, I guess, bigger project before the album and stage presence and all that kind of helped catapult this, I guess, or solidified this career.
Yeah, we'd love to hear an excerpt. Do you have a favorite poem you would like to share with our listeners? We'd love to hear it.
Let's see. I'll ask actually both of you. So do we want something loving or more deeper? Who's?
I would say deeper, but
All right, let's go deeper.
I want to hear the
Okay. So, yeah, this is from Garth. It's called Overloaded. I tried to be tied down, but couldn't quite figure out what I really wanted out of life, so I shut down. Abandoned everybody who trusted me and tried to love me, because I couldn't bear the thought of them knowing that I was struggling, mentally, financially, and everything else in between, as pride got the best of me, tempted me, and then tested me by asking my ego what kind of evil makes her less from me, then using that knowledge with full intention to make a mess of me. Embarrassing to say the least, having to cope with everything, on your own inside your dome feeling like you're so alone, but never want to rock the boat. So you do your best to hold it all together till one day you explode. From emotion overload and airing out your whole soul, bearing down to the bone where you're finally exposed to be the human that you've been pursuing all along, as you hid behind a monster just so he could write some songs. Turning rights into wrongs and replacing your thoughts with a little idea that you don't belong. Like, what's the point of living when you've already given up on everybody in your life that you ever claimed to love? Well, I'll tell you what the point is. No more avoidance. Time to stand up and speak out for the voiceless, for those who feel joyless, for those who feel poisoned, for those who feel like they're trapped and have no other choices but to work and fade away, fake a smile and behave while the money that you make goes to someone else's bank so they can live happy lives off your efforts and your time till you're no longer needed. Then they simply cut your ties. Like a puppet, they say fuck it, use you and then kick your bucket as they throw you out with the bathwater like you're nothing but the bottom of a barrel. So you go and grab a barrel, make sure to grip it tight as the muzzle meets your temple, because they got you going mental, thinking that you're worthless, hoping that the metal is going to solve all your burdens when all it's going to do is leave your loved ones hurting. So I'm here to beg you to stay determined, to live a better life, to ignore all the lies, to put down the bottle, step away from the knife, to look deep inside and try to realize that each and every single one of us deserves to survive.
It's beautiful.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Nicely done.
Thank you,
What
guys.
a moving performance of that, and what a treat for our listeners.
Yeah, and I mean, besides the words that wow, like beautiful, but the way you speak it, the way that, there's certain parts you talk slower, you go faster. There must be a technique to that.
Yeah, it's been crafted.
Yeah.
Many trials and errors. Yeah, thank you. It first was on the page, and then figuring out how to perform it and resonate with people. Yeah,
It like sounds like it's coming from so deep inside, which is amazing because that's how you connect.
Yeah, and so interesting. First of all, thank you for listening and giving me that time to do that.
You bet.
And again, that's overloaded from my book Growth. So the thing about that piece is, when I was performing, I thought, and I wanted this is some advice also. What some of the questions we asked earlier about being an artist. I thought there was this fear I was going to get attached to that. So that's a heavy piece, right?
Yeah.
Depression and like suicidal stuff. I thought I was like, I can't perform this piece because I'm gonna relive those emotions and I'm gonna get attached to it. So there was a part of me that didn't want to share it, and it's actually quite the opposite that happened. The more I started sharing it, the more comfortable. It's really our minds, like any psychologist, anybody, like our minds play so many tricks on us. And the more I started sharing it, the more, one, it resonated with other people, and two, I was able to release it more. I'm not attached to it, but I could still, from the performing aspect, the craft of it, I was still able to like put my all into it and still give you that's the element that you kind of train yourself to do, right? But I want to make people aware, like, don't be afraid of it. Like, you might be scared, but it will be worth it, whatever the outcome. So that was my little tidbit.
How old were you when you wrote that?
That one was new. That one was newish. Like when I published this, that was like 20. I would say that's 2018-ish time, because I was really going through. And that was, I think, before I wrote What Have I Learned About Love. That was when I was really going through the thick of it. Got laid off from a job. That's that part about working where I'm like feeling used up and all this stuff, and just working for somebody else and like not knowing my place. I got laid off of a job and things were crumbling and going through
there
thick of depression and just in this hole. And I'm just like, what? And just feeling also overloaded with the emotions of life. So yeah, that one usually gets people. So yeah.
What advice would you give to your younger self? The version of yourself that wrote some of the poems in this book, who's sort of struggling with these emotions and struggling with getting pen to paper and all that. So maybe the easier part of the question is, what advice would you give to a young creative?
Yeah.
And the harder part of the question might be, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Yeah. I think the answer might be similar for both. Be you. I think I've said this so many times. It sounds so simple, but for some reason it's hard. Like, be who you are, in the simplest form. Like, I say it because there's a time of like, for instance, I have long hair now, but I had struggled with the outside opinions of people wanting to be accepted, right? So freshman year came around and I shaved my hair, like just buzz cut it. And that was me for years. Wow. This was the new me who was, and then finally I gave that up way years later when I was going through all this and grew my hair out. And I was like, I'm not worried about the perspective of the outside world. Like, you just have to be you. And again, cliche, but be authentic. Like, write the hard stuff, write the love stuff, and keep going. Like, the advice, like, keep going. There's actually, and I actually wanted to mention, where is it? I wrote it down.
Ooh.
A young girl, she goes by MV the Poet. Really cool. But I was traveling and came back here for a free verse event, and it was somewhere downtown, and we're sitting. I walk up and she's sitting on the bench by herself and very timid. Like, I'm afraid. Like, I think I'm gonna share tonight. I don't know if I'm gonna share tonight. And we were there early, so like 30 minutes. We're just hanging out, and me and some other poet friends were like, "Hey, go in there. We've all been doing it. Go do it. Like, be awesome. It's okay." She was going through a tough time, and it's cool to always see her now because she always tells us that same story. And she's like, y'all helped push me to go do that. Like, I was just gonna start spectating, and she always comes back, and it's a really cool reciprocation of love. So you gotta lean into that fear.
Yeah,
you have to, just keep doing the things. Trial, error. And I think there's also, you mentioned like social media and perception too. And just media in general, right? Or anything. I think there's this, at least I saw years ago, like putting people down for like trying something.
Yeah.
And I think there was an artist I saw a long time ago video, like when did it become cool to like stop trying? I'm like, what? Why? Try. That's what we're here to do. Try stuff.
And social
like,
media has made everything look so polished and perfect and whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
oh man, I have a video on there that I call Weird Stuff. I don't know if you'll see it at some point, but like I'm like, I mean, I put it out there for to challenge that very notion, like where I cut an avocado with a spoon from the side. I eat a kiwi. I eat the kiwi with the skin on it. Like just all the stuff. It's just like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, just all those other things. And like some people, they're like, whoa. And then a lot of people, funny thing, a lot of people to that video, they're like, oh, I do crazy things too. And they were like connecting with it. I'm like, yeah, like, so what? Just try. The biggest thing, back to what you were saying, as an artist, try. Yeah. Try. You won't know if you don't try.
Yeah.
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 So that's all I've been doing.
Quick question. So since you're in Charleston, would you say that there's anything for artists that they would get from the Charleston city that you might not get from a bigger city like New York City or LA, besides obviously like opportunities? But what makes it special being an artist here compared to those?
I think there's just a respect and a beauty to the town, just the energy, and people looking out for each other, and the different things, like we have the things we can pull from too, like the scene itself, the beautiful beaches and things like that, and then the food, the culture itself, and then the camaraderie, which I didn't always feel either. Like I personally, in my own personal journey, I didn't feel that. I was like, I need to, but that was my own narrative, right? That was my own narrative I was telling me. And then I found places like the Poorhouse and things like that. I was like, oh, it is there. You have to also, that goes back to the other question. You also have to seek it too. Yeah. You have to seek what you want, right? Like I didn't know about Poorhouse and everyone was like, oh my God, you don't know about the Poorhouse? This amazing place. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about it, but it's there. So you do also have to like seek it and talk to people and don't be afraid. It's again, just the culture. Like I used to not walk the bridge. I love walking the bridge. Yeah. I walk the bridge. I waved the cars going by like the whole time. And people were waving back and honking. I love that. Yeah, it's great.
They don't even know they're driving by a celebrity.
I don't know about all that, but yeah, right? How dare they not wave back? But it's just the joy and love of it, right? And then also don't be afraid to expand beyond Charleston too. Yeah. Like go everywhere, or vice versa, right? If you're in New York, come to Charleston. Like just be open to opening yourself up to different opportunities.
Yeah. So. What do you do? I mean, it sounds to me like you're committed to bringing up other artists with you, right? Mm-hmm. But what do you do to sort of cultivate and foster that sense of community and bring up the next generation and all those things? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Try to be authentic through my experience a little bit, like because we all feed as humans, we all feed off of each other. But as far as the younger ones, like shout out Envy the Poet, just encouraging that.
You've done a bunch of appearances at high schools
over
the last year too.
Sorry, thank you for helping me jog that. Yes. So like my alma mater, Fort Dorchester, performing for them. I actually had a kid, man. He came up to me afterwards and he had just he was like, I loved your performance. And it was amazing. He spoke to me. He was really respectful. He waited like the whole time. And he told me, man, I just went through like a friendship breakup with like one of his good guy friends.
Oh, that could be so hard.
Yeah, the fact that this kid in high school, from my perspective, was telling me that, I was like, wow, that's amazing, because nobody talks, like there's romantic breakups, but rarely have I heard about the friendship breakup, which is real.
That's a lot of vulnerability
or
for a young
parental
man.
breakup.
Absolutely.
Or any breakup, animal, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this high school kid, and he broke down and he cried and I held him in my arms and I was like, oh my God, like this wow, thank you for sending this to me. I did not know how to. I said, move through it the best you can, write about it, do what you saw me do on the I don't know. And he thanked me afterwards, but it was a moving experience for both of us.
Yeah.
So to the question of, performing there, I like to show the multidisciplinary stuff. So like I show a video, like a montage of some of the music I've done. I'll perform a few poems. I'll read the children's book, just kind of to show them that it can all be done too. Like you can do whatever. Because I thought maybe at one point I was just going to do poetry, or I was just going to do performing. So I think things are aligning again. Just reiterating encouragement. I think we all need that. I've yet to like really start doing workshops. I know a lot of poets like Marcus Amaker and Abby Duran and they do workshops, and I commend them. I haven't pulled the trigger on that just yet, because I do want to be I'm a little more focused on creating and doing projects right now. And I don't think I've had the confidence in like, can I actually lead a class or stuff like that?
Oh yeah,
you would be great at it.
Rachel and I both know that you can. It's just a matter of time too. You're a busy man.
You've inspired me already to go home and splatter paint on my wall.
Jackson Pollock in the making.
Exactly. So just encouragement. That's the baseline thing. And then if there is actual like advice, actually, there's fourth graders I talked to, and it was cool. I read them the children's book, right, and then I asked them. What did you like think of what you took away from it, and they all wrote down their answers, and they shared a few with me, and basically I wrote a few on the projector and started building out just like a 4-line poem. I was like, what did you feel from this? Sadness that the girl or guy or boy felt this way, and I was like, this is how this feeling you had as a child and this other child had, these are how these relate. I was trying to show them how like you can connect and things. I was like, that's the starting point, I think, of a basic poem, stuff like that. Yeah.
You know what I would love to see? What I'd love to know is what would be like. Do you have crazy notes like in your iPhone or notes? I'm sure you have the craziest notes.
I have so many notes. I have notes. I have way too many notes of like. I've got therapy notes. I've got I've got crazy line notes. Like, what is this thing I have? I've got so many notes, man.
Do you feel though like writing it on your phone, typing it on your phone is different, like release, than actually writing it like in a journal?
Yes. No, for sure. Because I think I'm no brain scientist, but the actual of just like painting, right?
Yeah.
Like the transmission from your physical hand to the physicalness of the paper, gonna send it back to your brain to like remember that moment. But convenience sake, your device that on the go, you can put it in there. But there's a lot of times I'll do that and then go back to the journal and write it in there.
Okay.
So like I try to remind myself like this is temporary. Let me make it more permanent in an actual form. And then I'll go. So I guess maybe to process. I'll do like phone a little bit, then journal, and then if I have a bigger idea, then to like a online document, and like this is how all this stuff works, right? This is how I piece this idea together, and then the marketing approach. Like I have a whole document of like a poem, like Stage Presence had the poem, and then the document had like cast. This is where this person's going, and then I said the promo is gonna be this. I'm gonna have a thing for the release of this, and it's just a big document.
Yeah. So I guess like since we are a marketing podcast, as an artist, like what is there certain channels that you feel like sometimes you get a better response, like when it comes to like social media?
Yeah, good question. For me, it's really overwhelming.
Yeah.
So back to like trying to make everything lucrative in business. Like I was losing my mind trying to make all the social things and put it on TikTok, Facebook, all those places. And I kind of let myself remove myself a little bit from that. And still, even though I still utilize it, just utilizing like one Instagram or something like that. And letting like YouTube's a great platform, but not like letting it stress me and say, okay, YouTube is just where the final production is going to live, right? But not worried about how many thousands of views YouTube's going to get right now.
Yeah.
Just use that as a hub. And then personally, Instagram's right now, like that's the thing that I engage with the most. But I don't really have. I know a lot of people are like TikTok everything. I'm like, I don't know.
I feel like the one thing that I liked what you said is that it gets overwhelming, right? And as an artist, you're already doing so much to start with. So like you focusing on one app to me is really interesting because I haven't heard that. I mean, maybe it's not a strategy, but I haven't heard that. And I would love to see what that looks like because so many people are putting stuff so many places, and they always say put it and see where it hits. But if you're really authentic and dedicated to one channel, then you might slowly expand.
I had to reel that in though because I was doing that.
Okay.
I mean, I would have like a page of like, okay, here's the Facebook banner, here's the Instagram banner, here's the YouTube banner, and like adjusting all of that. And I'm like, okay, I spent a lot of time doing that, and I don't knock it. Like, power to people who do that. Like, you get more exposure and stuff, but for me, it was a personal decision of like, I gotta like hone it down. I'm not gonna be able to focus on the art as much.
Sure.
But once the product or whatever I'm doing is created, I do set time for that, right?
Yeah.
I do set like time to do that, and also the more you do stuff, you also have your own templates and things.
Absolutely.
So you kind of develop a little bit of flow, right?
Yeah.
So like, you just have to also make time too. So advice to artists: if you want to market yourself, like, you have to plan that out, like market that, right? Like, so I knew I Am Not a Rapper was going to be out like my birthday last year, like, but I was planning for that. And I already knew I was releasing the album, and then I was going to release each month. I'm going to release a video from the album and then plan for that. And is this a loving song that falls on Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Is this it's something else that aligns, and all the marketing strategies.
Like
Happy-go-lucky
releasing this for your TED Talk.
Happy-go-lucky song for St. Patrick's Day.
Exactly.
Right.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm doing this on the TEDx
Yeah.
because people will see me in
Absolutely.
person and know it, and it went bananas. And that's just a struggle you have to get over as there's that like, I don't want to sell myself, or there's that mentality some artists have, and I get it. But if you want to be successful, like, you gotta find a way to like work with it than against it.
Yeah.
Well said.
I feel like we're in a time of age though where you'll hear artists, like even influencers, right? You'll say like, okay, I don't have like a comedian, for example. I don't have 15,000 followers. I can't get gigs. That doesn't mean I'm not a good comedian, right? But it's kind of crazy that the amount of followers defines like what opportunities that you're getting at this point.
I will say, yeah, I agree. That is a sad perspective. I think it's up to us. I think that's anything in the world, right? When it comes to like, I don't know, real estate, politics, any economical thing, we as humans have to shift. So I'm big in like spirituality and stuff. So we have to shift the consciousness and remind ourselves, our neighbors, our friends, of like, oh no, the value is in the thing and not the numbers all the time. The numbers are helpful, but the value is here. And like, I think we all have that, and we all have that responsibility individually to help the collective, right? That's sad if someone's like, they're good at what they do and they can't get something, and maybe it's not, universally, maybe it's not for them. In that time, I've endured that before too. I'm like, really?
This isn't catching on.
I'm like, really? You're not gonna hire me for that thing because I don't have this to help you? I'm like, that's odd, but anyway, that's a bigger discussion.
No, I was just curious what your perspective of that. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, of course.
So just to wrap up, where do people find you on the interwebs and on social media and all those things, and where can people come and see you in 2026?
ChristianMorant.com is my website. Instagram's Christian.Morant, YouTube.com/Christian Morant. That's where you'll find Snappin, stage presence, and all that stuff. In 2026, a lot more, I think, creative happening so far. I am trying to make my way out to Texas at some point, probably early March or so. And then, I spend a lot of time between New York and South Carolina and just all over the place. So if you want to know more, ChristianMorant.com is where my events are.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Rachel.
so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
Fun
you
to
so
co-host
much.
with you.
That was a lot of fun.
All right. Yeah. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And a very special thanks to SCRA for the underwriting for today's episode. We really appreciate the help and support and everything you do for the good people of South Carolina. So thank you.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye.